Hey everybody, I'm Misty Buck, president of Miss Inc., and we are here for another Marketing Monday. I'm going to throw a marvelous in front of that. Marvelous Marketing Monday. I have an amazing guest today. I am so excited that she's taking time out of her schedule to be here today. I know you're going to get a ton of gems from her. Violette de Ayala. Did I say it?
Yes.
Did I mess it up?
No,
I messed it up.
You did. It's good.
I messed it up.
It's good. Keep on, yeah.
Ayala.
There you go.
Yay. It's very important to me that I pronounce names correctly. So this is a big deal. All right. So she is the founder and CEO of Femme City. So Violet, now that I finally got your name correct, would you go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about Femme City, and then we're going to get into some awesome tips because this woman really knows her stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm so happy to be here with you. I haven't seen you in so long. It's
so
great to be here.
I know.
Thank you. And yeah, so we started Femme City in 2009 right here in Miami. And what we do is we are really passionate about helping women start businesses, grow businesses, and up level. So we do coaching, mentorship, we do networking events, we do online courses. We have, I'm going to say, almost 90 locations in the US and Canada. And the reason why I'm saying almost is because we had 88 before the pandemic, and then a couple of them were inactive. And so now we are in launch mode again. So we're launching more and more chapters across the US and Canada, specifically in the Midwest, all the way over to the West.
That's amazing. So I didn't even know that the mentorship and the coaching part existed. So I knew about the networking, and you've kind of broken up into the different. So we had like one in Pinecrest, for example, and there's been like different like mini versions of the chapter, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. So and all those now are all under Miami right now. So we have a really it's just beautiful to have it all back together.
Oh, I see. I didn't even know that you guys did that.
Yeah. So you'll have to come out. You'll have to come out for lunch.
Yeah, now I have to come out. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we were talking about food.
Sorry,
we were talking about food before. We turned the camera on. Yes, we'll have to go there. Oh my God, I love that. I'm so excited.
Yes. And we started the mentorship and the coaching really during the pandemic. We had so many women that came to us saying, you know, I just lost my job. I really don't know, you know, where to go, what to do. And so we started doing weekly virtual networking. So every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then we also have the coaching and the mentorship as well, because we wanted to be sure that we were there for women to guide them in these decisions.
Oh my God. So these are, I don't know why I didn't know that. I have to check my email settings and see. I know, but still, like this is amazing. So what you have done for women, and not just our community, but how you have grown it. So I remember when you just got started, right? Yeah. When you were just getting started, I was just getting started. Yep. And I remember being at a which is no longer there, but there was this location in Coconut Grove. It was a client of mine at the time. It was called, it was like basically like a Full Body Wine and Spa, I think it was what it was called.
Oh my gosh!
And you did like your logo, like voting reveal thing when it used to be Femfessionals.
I forgot about that.
So she brought like these two, like these big signs, and so everyone that was there got to vote on whichever logo they wanted. And I just thought from the beginning, I really connected with that because it was very clear that you all really wanted. You weren't just starting something to start something. Like you really wanted the involvement, and you really cared what people thought. And so from that day, like you guys have just always stuck out in my mind.
Wow, I totally forgot about that. Yes.
Throwback.
Total throwback. Yeah, we had people vote on the logo, and then we fine-tuned it based on feedback. And honestly, we still do that today. So people, sometimes I'll get on podcasts or shows and they're like, you're so brilliant, you're so amazing. And all I've really done is listened to what women need and want when it comes to business. And then we've implemented that. That's really the secret sauce of what we've created, is just being at the forefront of like having our ears out and then saying, okay, this is where we need to be, so that we're there for them. Right.
I love it so much. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit. I want to know how you built Femme City, but then I also want to talk about since you didn't mention it, maybe some tips for women that are going out on their own now, or maybe they started, I know I have friends that started right before the pandemic and then had to make some shifts, and so they're still trying to keep that going. So we'll kind of get into that too, but let's talk about, and we can start with, I love that you just mentioned that you just listen to what your target audience, I hate to say it though because it sounds so cold.
Right.
But you know, you're really listening to what the people who you want to serve, you're listening to what it is that they want. So how were you able to do that, especially as you've grown to almost 90 chapters throughout the country?
You know, I think the biggest pivot that we had was in 2009. We had, Google reached out to us at that time. And they said, hey, we'd like to teach some classes for your members. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course, that would be amazing. And so Google Circles was new and Google Hangouts.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about those things.
I know, we're going
Circles.
Way back.
That's another throwback, Google Circle.
Total. And our members really loved it. Mm-hmm. They thought that was amazing. They could take classes like that from, you know, and then Yelp reached out to us, and they also then wanted to teach classes for women that were looking at leveraging Yelp for their business and what to do with negative reviews and what to do with your listing. And that was our first pivot into that space of having online content. So our members could take classes at the comfort of their own home. And so I mentioned that because it's always been an evolution. So as we started Femme City, we were one thing. At the time, we were just networking for women. But then as we had that partnership and then the other partnership, then we started kind of evolving from that. So I think the secret has been, you know, listening to what the women that we want to serve, what they're needing now and what they will need in the future, and being a couple steps ahead so that by the time they realize, oh my gosh, I need to be on Pinterest. Well, we already have a Pinterest class ready for you.
Super smart.
Yeah, so the evolution of every brand is critical, which is, you know, what I've done, what you've done, you know, that's the way to stay in the know, right? And to stay in popular and needed. Right,
I love that. So not only listening to what people need now, but being able to study and anticipate trends of what's coming and putting things in place so that when that does become of interest, you have something available to them. Yeah, I love that. So tell us, I'm so curious. So I never heard this part of the story before. How did it go from I'm going to do this in Miami to let me expand and offer this in other areas?
So and this has so many business lessons in it as well.
Yes.
So I, at the time, had my own PR agency doing environmental initiatives, and I was making a good amount of money, having that, like, I was super happy, and started Femme City for fun. I was craving having a community of women to support not only me, but each other. So that's really how it started. And my son had gotten us on this absolutely new platform called Facebook.
Oh, so the new thing, on the new kid on the block, Facebook.
Exactly,
I remember that.
2009, 2010.
Right.
And because of that, women were seeing the pictures we were posting of our events. And they were reaching out to me and asking, okay, so I see this Femme City. How do I get one of these in my backyard? And at first I thought, like, what are you talking about? Like, all we did was gather. Everyone can gather. I mean, it's not anything secret there. Just ask some people to join you. And it wasn't until like the 10th time that I had a request that I thought, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
And I get a little woo-woo with
this. It's like
the
universe is like, hello.
Exactly. Like, you need to, like, listen to us. And so I thought, let me dive in to see what's going on. My prior business before the PR agency was a Pilates studio. And I owned that for 7 to 8 years in North Carolina. And I was not able to scale it outside of myself. I had a couple satellite locations. We grew to bigger and bigger locations. And so it was successful in its own right. But I wasn't able to scale it when some people said, you should really, like, launch in other cities and you should grow into other countries. And I kind of closed it up. I had to liquidate it because I couldn't even find a buyer for the studio when we moved back to Miami. So I always had that in the back of my mind as like a failure, like a business failure. Like, I couldn't sell it. Even though I made a tremendous amount of money, I did good work. You know, I loved the work that we did. It was always branded to myself as a failure. So when starting Femme City, I already had that mindset that if I start this, it cannot be about Violet. It cannot be about myself. It has to be able to scale beyond. And so we tested a couple markets. We tested Fort Lauderdale. It felt amazing, like Miami. It did really, really well. And I thought, well, of course, it probably did well because it's close to Miami. That's not really a good test. Let's do something really far. I posted something on LinkedIn. Someone responded, Cheyenne Palma, who's amazing, and she launched Femme City Philadelphia.
No way.
And so we tested that and we were like, okay, it works. We were able to go. So then I really intentionally just launched 3 or 4 every year to sit and wait and see, okay, how did we do? Did we do okay? Tweaking the manual, tweaking the process, all the guides, so that it could be something that could be very scalable. So that's how, and then you can kind of see our track pattern. We went up the East Coast, and then a little bit over towards the West, and then we launched in Canada and Toronto, and then that kind of moved over. So even our growth pattern now is moving from the West all the way over. And of course, forming partnerships in other countries as well so that we can support other women organizations.
That's amazing. So one of my biggest takeaways from what you just shared there, because you're right, there's so much.
Lots of little nuggets
There's so many nuggets there. But I think one of the things that I love so much is you had this business that was successful, but yet you felt it was a failure because you couldn't scale it. And so some people at that point might have had the mindset, you know what, maybe I'm not really a business owner type, and give up. And you didn't. You just sort of have had that nagging need to continue to create. And And so how did you move past that? Or was it something that you didn't have to move past because it just was naturally something that you wanted to do?
No, I mean, I ended up hiring, I had a great job after that at the Four Seasons here in Miami. I did the marketing PR for the club and spa. And that was a great gift. That was a wonderful job. But I got the bug again. And I think that's what happens, is that we may have those narratives that say, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I didn't do well, I can't do this again, you know. But sometimes we have that bug inside of us again, and then we just kind of like start moving that direction. They're like, oh, here we are again. I'm back in business. Like, didn't mean that happened. So I think that's, I mean, there's definitely some aha moments, and there was definitely some redirect in the conversations that I had, like the self-limiting beliefs, when you start doing that, because you naturally go into, remember it was a failure. You know, remember last time, you're probably going to be a failure again, where you have to kind of say, you know what, this is a different story. I know better now. I learned all these lessons. So just zapping out all of those self-limiting beliefs along the way definitely
which is
helped.
a job in and of itself.
Totally.
That's a total mindset is a total job of its own, but it's so critical. And now, but look at all of us. We're so thankful that you didn't listen to those inner critics, because look at the gift that you have given so many women.
Yeah, it's incredible, because I felt like giving up. We've talked about this at Femme City this last week. The conversation came up. We had a member who said, I feel like quitting. I feel like giving up. And, you know, some of our members tagged me on the thread, and I told her, I mean, I felt like quitting for 7 years. I felt like quitting. I felt like I'd given up this other PR, you know, agency that I had that was making a tremendous amount of money, and here I went into like not making anything, like not making any money for many years, injecting so much of my own money in there, sacrificing, like taking my kids out of private school, selling my beautiful car that I loved. You know, there were lots of painful sacrifices, but every time I thought about giving up, which generally happened when a job offer would come through. Like a nice little
those headhunters would find you.
Like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of money. Like all these problems would go away if I just said this. I would always get this random email from someone saying, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. You've changed my life. And so I kept on going in that direction. But I did want to, I mean, we all feel like quitting at some time, especially when it's like, wow, this is really easy. Look at this. It just kind of landed over. You know, is that the universe telling me give it up? So I had a lot of those moments.
Yeah, it's easy to definitely let that self-doubt or even imposter phenomenon. That's something I deal with sometimes too. Like, oh my God, wait, people are gonna find out I'm really not good at this, or what, you know, whatever that talk is, and you're like, but wait, can I really sustain this? Can I really like, who do I think I am? Like, that happens to all of us, I think.
Every single person. Even myself. I'll tell you this really funny story. So years and years ago, I was Nikki Novo, who's one of our members here in Miami that I think you know, she and I would get together once a couple of months just to kind of support each other in a more one-on-one way. And she used to write for Lucky Magazine and Allure Magazine, so she's an excellent writer. She still is an amazing writer. And she was doing my bio, and we were sitting at Lulu's in the Grove, and she said to me, she just put down small business expert. And I was like, oh, Nikki, you can't put that down.
You put the word expert?
I'm not a small business expert. I was like, are you crazy? That is not me. She was like, how old were you when you started your first business? I was like 22. And she's like, how many businesses have you had? I had to count them. And then she's like, okay, so you've been a small business owner for how many years? I was like, like 25, 30. And she was like, girl, you are a small business expert. And
I love that.
I just, it was so, first of all, uncomfortable for me to hear. And then I needed to hear it from somebody else. I would have never put that ever on my LinkedIn or my bio, like ever. And if you had asked me, I would have been like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about business. Yet I had run all these successful businesses. So isn't that interesting? Like,
it's amazing the imposter, totally the imposter phenomenon of syndrome, or whichever way you want to call it. But the total thing of you're just like, but do I really know that much yet? Have I really done enough yet? Can I really help enough people yet? Can I really put that out there and that's valid?
That's not real.
Yeah, it's not. That's not. I mean, I could say that, but then I'd be like fraud. And I think that's the total thing of imposter phenomenon, right? So, I love that you're working through all those things. So let's talk a little bit about. And thank you for sharing all of that. I love that story, by the way. I think all these things are going to help so many people just listening to this. So they're certainly helping me absorb things. Because I identify with so much of what you're saying, right? Having those times when you do want to quit, or you feel like you're pulling resources from other areas, and you're like, "Am I really? Is this really the right decision?" You know what I mean? But you just believe in it, like it's where your heartstrings pull you to. And every once in a while, when you think practically, maybe this isn't the right move for me, and then something will happen. Just a little validation, and you're like, "No, I can't give up, because then I'm gonna there's people like so and so out there that actually do have a need for this."
Right.
So. anyway, so I identify with so much of what you just said, and I thank you for sharing all that. So for the women out there that are getting their businesses started, what are, obviously you want to go look up Femme City because they have like a gazillion resources for you, and it's not fluff, it's like real resources and classes and help and even the coaching and mentoring, which I didn't know. But what are some tips that you have for women that are getting started?
So I think the first one, and I do things in threes, I don't know why.
Yes.
So the first one I would say is think about your superhero talent. Like, what is something that you're doing? And I'm talking to the person that has no idea what they're going to do, right? Like, they know they need to be in business for themselves. They have no idea. Or maybe they kind of have an idea, but, like, need confirmation. So
right.
This is the confirmation. This is the universe speaking. Think about your superhero talent. So what is something that you naturally do really well? And think about something that you're really skilled at. So maybe you've been doing something for quite some time, perhaps maybe not paid. So you could have been a volunteer at your local children's school, or you could have been helping a friend start a business. So thinking about where those two come together, your superhero talent, and then the skills that you've acquired along the way, whether it's a certification or you took a class or you've just been really diving into that certain topic.
Right.
Thinking about those two, that's a great place to start. So that's the first place, because I think a lot of women don't start businesses because they spend so much time thinking about, what am I going to offer?
Right.
Well,
there's just all this pressure, right? One of the first things that you hear when you take a business class is you got to pick a niche, right? You got to have a niche. You got to have a niche. You got to have this, that. Okay. But yeah, and sometimes and I think that a lot of times, I love what you said, because I think that a lot of times the things that you're the most passionate about develop from sitting back and sort of observing your experiences and be like, how can I use this to serve?
Right.
And then,
like that.
Yeah, right. So like me, like with the coaching that I do, I came into that because of a few things that I've shared on the show before. But basically, one of the things that I always say, this is when it comes to finding purpose, is let your pain help you find your purpose.
I love that.
Like your pain, or in other words, your pain becomes your purpose because you're going to use that to serve other people who might be in the same space. So I don't feel like the purpose is necessarily, I don't think it's like a singular thing, by the way. I'm not one of those people that this is my purpose and that's it. I think there's multiple things that make that up, but I love that you shared that, because that's something that if you step back and look at your life and looking at those two things,
how they come together.
How they can come together. So I love that tip.
And if you don't know it, by the way, so sometimes people are like, well, I don't even know.
Yes.
Ask some friends. Ask people that know you. Like, hey,
I love
when you think of me, like, what do you think my superhero talent would be? And they might say, wow, you're really great at, posting on Instagram. Like, you are awesome at that.
Right.
Everyone's engaged. Everyone's so much fun to watch, or it could be you're really good at connecting with people, or I really feel comfortable with you. So, we all have value. We all have this amazing greatness within us. So if you're thinking that you don't, you do. You just have to figure out what it is and using that recipe. That's the first place. The second place is, going back to what you just said now, is how are you going to serve others? Like, how are you going to service the world? So you've got this superhero talent, you've got these skills, that it's going to be great. Who's going to benefit from that? How can you serve others? So start thinking about that space, because that will help you define like the name, your slogan, the demographic that you're going to be helping, not targeting, but helping, as we mentioned before.
Right.
That's the second tip I would say, is that just to kind of really fine tune how you're going to serve others. You're not going to be selling, because take that off, because that's the other mindset that women, they don't want to be salespeople.
Right.
Don't think about it as sales. Think about it as, how are you going to serve others? How are you going to help others live life better, make more money, have a more enjoyable life, grow their business and brand? We all help others through the businesses that we have.
Right.
How will you help and serve others? That would be my second tip.
Love it. No, I love that.
And then my third one, the third one is just to start going. Just move forward.
Just do it.
Just believe in yourself, because that's the other thing that holds women back, is that they just don't believe in themselves. They take someone else's narrative from when they were 30 years old and someone said that they were stupid, or someone said when they were 15 years old that they're never going to amount to anything, or someone in your 20s told you that, you're bad at math, which is another thing that, all of those narratives, just throw it out the window. We've been given that by other people that most likely have not stepped into that space, and that was their story. Just redefine that, move forward, and really believe in yourself, because you're going to have to be your own best friend.
And so does Femme City offer things to help, like workshops or programs to help women walk through each of those three parts?
Yeah, so we have a 20 module course.
Okay.
If you go to our members portal, and you can sign up for free, by the way. We have a free 30-day trial. So if you don't even have the $15 to join, you can just go and try it out for free. But it's a 20 module course. It walks you through every single step.
So all these things that you just talked about and more.
Yes, and even mindset. Like, you can type in, money. Let's say you are awful with money, or you think
you are, right?
You can put in money. We have tons of classes on money. And if you are wanting to learn about Instagram and the possibilities of how you can brand yourself, you can just type in Instagram in our library, and it pulls up like all these classes that you can take yummy in your, you know, in your little robe, sip some tea at home, like, you know, comfortable and safe.
Right.
So super easy to do.
I love that. I love it. So really what she's saying is if you have that nagging feeling, listen to it. There's a reason that it's there, and there are plenty of resources there available to help you work through each of those. So let's say somebody, okay, they're getting through that and they have some questions. How can they take advantage? I don't know if it would be mentorship, networking, coaching, or which of those things, but like I'm assuming there's somebody they can reach out to.
Yeah, so we used to do every Monday, we would do a group coaching session. And what we've decided to do, we're just starting it now in October, is we have a forum where you can just book time with one of our experts.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Because that way it's more, it's like hyper local on the specific topic or question you have. So it wouldn't make sense for you to be on a call with me for group coaching on social media marketing. Right. That's not my jam. Right. That's your jam, right? Like, so it didn't make sense. So now we have it so that you can just book time with our experts so that they can really work with you one-on-one on that.
I love
And a lot of the members actually naturally mentor each other, honestly. Like, they become friends, especially now with the pandemic. We see a lot more of our local members because we have that weekly virtual networking that we do. And we've got this Facebook group. They're all making friends from like all parts of the world, and it's really nice that then they mentor each other. Like, oh, I'm going through this. Help! Can someone help me? And someone's like, oh, here, use this, or here's a YouTube link, or here's the class that I found.
Wow!
So they all, the community is filled of women helping each other. They recognize as I lift up, we all lift up.
Right.
It's my responsibility. It's also part of my success to make sure that you're successful.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. I get so excited talking about this kind of stuff, right? Like, don't you just get like just all day? So I love it so much. All right, so we've talked about, you know, oh gosh, I guess we have a few more minutes left. So if we could get into what do you think are some of the top, like let me think of how to just say this, because maybe there's like a top 1 or 2 issues that you see people when they're new in business, whether they're just getting started or maybe they've had it for 5 years, run into, and what are some potential solutions or resources for them? I know that's kind of a huge question. You can't answer every top issue, but what are a couple top ones that come to mind that you hear quite often?
Yeah, I think the mindset is the biggest one. The mindset is the biggest one. So, and I think sometimes women will say, well, I read this book, or I met with this coach, or I met with this, or I watched this TED Talks, and now I feel great. I feel amazing. But they haven't done the work to release that self-limiting belief. Right. And that narrative will keep on getting louder.
Yeah, like a week goes by and all of a sudden you're right back to
and then you're like, I'm broken. Like, there's something wrong with me because I was fixed last week. So I think the understanding that our mindsets has to be set in a success mode, and it takes time to get there, and that's its own evolution. Sometimes you'll feel really good about yourself, and then sometimes you'll get an email from someone who's grouchy, and then all of a sudden you're like back in the dumps, you know? So just recognizing that your mindset, you have to get it to a point where it's in this uber success mode, which I just got to a couple years ago. So it definitely takes time, where you're solid, where nothing really impacts your connection to who you are, who you will be. Right. It doesn't like ding you at all. Right. That's the first place. Spend a lot of time. When you start having some sort of negative thought about yourself, think about the trigger. Think about when you started thinking about that. Who gave you that story? Is it true? Most likely 99.9% it is not true. Right. And then rewrite that story so that it kind of goes away. And then you'll uncover others, but now you have the tools to work through it. To do it, right. And to recognize, okay, this is a false negative thought habit, or in other words, let me reframe this, stay in growth mode or success mode, as you're saying. Yep. I think that's so huge. And I really think that's like a lifelong process, by the way, because you're constantly picking things up. Constantly. And people are giving them to you. Yeah, people will gladly give you. You know, you by accident cut someone off, and they're like, you know, then you're like, well, am I a bad person? Yeah, like, exactly. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know, watching Netflix because you can't get off the sofa. Yeah. So that's the first one. And I think the second one is to give yourself grace. I mean, you do the best that you can. You know, I like to review my work every Friday to look to see, like, did I do what was needed in order to get to where I want to go? Are there places where I can improve? Are there things that I could have done better? Just giving yourself a review and giving yourself grace so that you make sure that you're always in alignment with where you want to go. Right. And you're spending the energy and the time in that space. Yeah. So that would probably be the second one, is just to, you know, review, honestly. Give yourself grace. You don't have to like, beat yourself up emotionally or
right.
with words.
Right.
And say, okay, next week I'm going to do better. I'm going to do
exactly.
this. And so,
but also I think it's important to say, but you know what, I did do this good, because it's so, isn't it so easy for us to like, especially, I don't know if this is like a female thing or what, but to be like, oh my, like you do 99 awesome things, but like that one thing that you messed up on, or you didn't finish, or you didn't get your workout in for the day, or you ate 2 bowls of pasta for the week, whatever. I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying something, whatever it is, like you just will, that's what will stick out in your mind. You're like, oh, my week was a failure.
Yeah, totally. We have a free daily, weekly planner that you can download. And when we designed it, we added wins on the right-hand side and a love note. So you write a love note to yourself. I love it. And then on the right-hand side, it has your wins. Because if we don't track our wins every day, and you can track it, like I've had in the past a win journal where I write down every single time I've had a win. Where
my God, that's amazing.
Someone calls you back, that you're pitching, or you get into that magazine or whatever.
Right.
If you don't write them down, if you're not conscious of it, I'm telling you, when you get that grouchy email from someone, you will forget all the wins that just happened 10 minutes ago. You will forget.
It's
you'll
so
be like
true.
So into that.
But it's so true.
Yeah. So just tracking it so that it helps you to reframe and to stay focused. And even at the end of the week, you can look back and go, look at all the amazing things I did.
Right.
I totally forgot that on Monday I made that cold call. Or on Tuesday I did that super scary IG live.
Right.
Wednesday, I stepped out, went to a networking event and met 3 new people. You forget all that stuff.
Right.
Where you really are doing great.
Yeah. No, I think that's such a huge... Oh my gosh, that's so huge. This whole show is golden nuggets, by the way. So I hope you guys are taking notes, or not, just head over to Femme City where you can get all the information. So, all right. So we are getting ready to wrap up soon. So what, I know you have some stuff coming up with a nonprofit that you're getting involved with to help young women start to develop these different skills. Do you want to talk about that at all? Or are you ready to announce that yet?
Yeah,
I don't know. Did I just let the cat out of the bag?
No. So we just started a local nonprofit, well, not local, a nonprofit through the local Coral Gables Community Foundation. We're super excited. It's called the Femme City Foundation. And it will serve to help women that cannot afford our membership, which is $15 a month, $15.99 a month. We will offer scholarships to women so we can help them start their own business. And then it also will incorporate programming for young girls aged 12 to 17. We want girls to be familiar with business. We want them to feel comfortable so that if in the future they decide to open up their business, they will have the layers of feeling successful already so they can step into that place. Because I really want, obviously, I want millions and millions of women to start businesses. That's my personal goal.
Right. I love that. But I think even as if you decide, you know what, that's not really for me, like I don't want to wear all those hats or have all those on my shoulders, that will even help you be like, even if you want to be an independent salesperson, right? Those business skills, or how do I be an employee, understanding how a business works, that will help you be a better employee and therefore help you elevate yourself in that career too, right?
Yeah,
so I think that there's endless.
Yeah, because you're right. You can work. I mean, we have a lot of members that work for Wells Fargo as an example, and they are not, that's not their business, but they run it as if they're wealth management. So a lot of times we work for corporate entities, but it is like running our own business because we're out there
100%
doing all of those marketing and the PR and the networking that we need in order to further our brand growth and also revenue.
Exactly. Yeah, you have finance, you have insurance, you have real estate. There's so many different markets that fit into that. So for sure. It's really good to have those tools and those networking skills.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say that, right? Because that's I love that. It gets me, there's nothing more beautiful than seeing women rise in their own business. Like they're able to make the money that they want. They can provide for their other family members, their kids, it's really just a very rewarding role that I play.
Yeah. I love that after all these years. So it's been about 15 years?
We started in 2009, so we're on 11.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Wait, I started in 2008, and next year I'll celebrate 14 years.
Oh, so it's been longer.
Yeah.
It is, I'm getting thrown up because Boca del Rey just celebrated their 10th anniversary. Our Femme City Boca del Rey is 10.
Yeah.
And our Femme City Toronto is at 8. I think we just celebrated our 8th anniversary.
And those were your newer chapters.
Yeah, so I'm thrown off by,
Yeah, so it's been even longer.
Yeah.
So, but I love what I would, either way.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. The point is that I love that you have maintained that passion and that you talk about this and you still light up, and it's so genuine.
Thank you.
It's really, you can really tell that it is something that is legit your passion, and that's what gets you up in the morning, and that is just all this work that you've done, inner work and outer work, has come together, and you're really able to serve all these people, and you're just as excited about it as you were when I first met you, when you were having that logo party.
Which I totally forgot about.
Oh my God, I don't know why that sticks. I think it sticks out of my mind because I just was like, okay, this is something I want to be a part of. This is really cool.
That was so much fun. That was a great event.
It was
Cocoa Walk.
Yeah, in Cocoa Walk.
The
former Cocoa Walk.
Exactly.
This is like when we talk about Prince.
Yeah. Exactly.
The shopping plaza is formerly known as Cocoa.
2020 has thrown me off with time. I have no concept of time.
None. I feel like 2020 and 2021 are the same year, by the way.
Yeah, I have no.
Like, it's just 1 year.
I could say like, oh yeah, I just saw Misty, and literally they'd be like, you mean like 3 years ago? I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant yesterday.
I know.
Like,
that happens to me too, right? The days, they just go by. Yeah. So with that being said, don't let more time go by without following that inner voice. I think that's something that we've learned here today from Violet, and doing the work to overcome that self-doubt, to get your mindset right, to just really be graceful in sharing your gifts.
Absolutely.
And being of service with that. So I think that's a good place to wrap up. So tell us, how can people again find Femme City?
Head over to femcity.com.
That easy.
And you can sign up for our free 30-day trial.
That easy. And
easy.
I love that you get access to all the resources too, by the way.
Yeah, they're all literally everything's in the members portal. You just join.
There's really no reason not to, really, is what she's saying. And if you're a man, by the way, I'm sure you have some male members, right?
We don't have male members, but we have a lot of men supporters, and we have thought about doing an award for them because we have some amazing supporters that we feel need to be recognized. And so we had been working on that before the pandemic, but then the pandemic happened. But we, that is something that we would like to do in the future. Is just to honor men that have supported us.
I love that.
Yep.
I love it. So, all right. So now really with that, I want to say thank you for being on the show. Any last thoughts? Anything else that you wanted to share before we wrap up?
No, if you were thinking about starting a business, perhaps this was a sign to move forward.
Yeah. There you go. This is your sign.
Yeah.
Here's your sign. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in for another awesome Marketing Monday. I hope you got as much value out of this today as I did. I am clearly glowing myself, ready to go back to the office and just kill it today and the rest of the week. So Violet, thank you so much again for your time and for being here. Sincerely, we really appreciate it. And we will see you again soon. So with that, I will wish everyone a lovely, beautiful, safe, healthy, happy, blessed, all those good things week, good vibes all around. And we will see you in the next show. Have a great one.